Greetings, YouTubers, and welcome back to another Toddy Walnuts, collection update video, although there's really not a lot to show. I do have some new pickups, and these are Scream Factory 4K upgrades and different alternate slipcovers. We're going to go through those. I got a title from one of the Vinegar Syndrome partner labels that just had a sale. I believe that one is sold out now, or very close to being sold out. We'll talk about that in a minute. I got a pretty cool DVD from Dario Argento. We'll talk about that as well. And I know I showed the Chain Reactions documentary in a previous video, but I wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit. I did watch it, and I really enjoyed it. And then over here, I have some upgrades for some of the 4K Scream Factory titles, and then I pulled out some other previous editions that I had in the collection to kind of show you. And here we go again with the bouncing around on the bed. And then finally, I went to a store today called Ollie's. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ollie's. It's kind of a Big Lots kind of a store. And this was the first time I was ever in there. We'll talk about that a little bit. I'll show you some of the really cool deals I got. I feel like I got really good deals on some stuff. And I'll tell you a little bit about that store. Maybe it'll pique your interest to go check and see if you have any Ollie's in your neighborhood or in your city. Or maybe you already do go to Ollie's and you can share some of your experiences in the comments section. I'm also going to talk a little bit about some YouTubers, and I'm going to give some recognition and some shout outs. And this one just does not want to lay down. Hey, lay down. So if you want to hang out with old Toddy Walnuts for a few minutes, I would enjoy that. So stick around, get yourselves relaxed, get a beverage and a snack, and let's check out these movies and talk a little bit. So I jotted some YouTubers' names down, and these are shout outs for people who really were in the Toddy Walnuts inner circle this past year. These are shout outs of people who were really a big part of my life. I'm going to do other shout out videos throughout the course of this year, so if your name was not mentioned, don't feel bad. These are just people who I have pretty constant contact with. And these are people who commented on almost every one of my videos when I upload them. And I jotted down some names, and we're going to talk about first the three gentlemen who I have as friends on WhatsApp. And they've really kind of kept me sane over the past year, over the past few years, really. But so I'm friends with Curious World, Let Us Play, and Eastwood for Life fan, and that is, well, I'm not going to give their real names. We're going to keep this kind of private. But all three of these gentlemen do have a YouTube channel, and I will link that down below. And throughout the course of this past year, we've stayed in touch through WhatsApp. And I've left these guys long messages, goofy messages, tired messages, frustrated messages. And they've kept me sane over the past year. So thank you very much to Curious World, Let Us Play, and Eastwood for Life fan. You guys are really good friends, and I appreciate you. A couple channels that I really enjoyed watching over this past year were Chili Billy and Frank's Collecting Castle, and I'm going to leave their channel links below too. And I haven't missed any of their videos over the past year. I don't have a lot of time to watch videos these days, but I always made sure to watch and comment on their videos. And likewise, they did the same for me. So big shout out and thank you to Chili Billy and Frank's Collecting Castle, who is Daniel, by the way. And like I said, I'll link all 5 of those channels. And I'm going to pause on the shout outs for now because I don't want to do like an hour of shout outs. So I'm going to show some things, and we'll pepper in some shout outs along the way. So I just wanted to kind of have this as background. But actually, we will talk about this, but I'm going to pause it, get something to drink, And then, well, I guess we'll get into the Ollie's store, and we'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get into some movies. So like I mentioned, Ollie's is a store that is very much like the Big Lots used to be, where they get just different random loads of stuff that they sell at really low discount prices. And each week or each month it could change and be something completely different. And you can join and save, and they already have really ridiculously low prices, and I'll show you what I mean. But this is the card that you can get. I just signed up today. This was the very first time I was in there. But if you're interested, you can go check that out. And you can look to see if there's any Ollies in your area. But they had a lot of hardcover comic books and trade paperback books. This is Batman 66 from DC Comics that I got for $6.99. It's brand new. It's still shrink wrapped. And I don't know what these were originally selling for, but if you get them at Barnes & Noble, they're going to be like 25, 30 bucks. So you can see there. These were originally $24.99. And I got it for $6.99. And it's still in the wrap, but I'm gonna, at the very end of the video, we'll pull the wrap off and we'll take a look at it. The next one is another hardcover, very heavy book. This is called The Other History of the DC Universe. This one was $7.99. You can see originally it was $29.99. If you get this at Barnes & Noble, you're gonna be paying 30 bucks. Again, this one it's shrink wrapped. Nice hardcover book in really nice condition. And they had hundreds of different books. I only picked out 3, but there was a lot of different DC stuff. There was a lot of Joker stuff. I wish I would have picked some of that stuff up. They had a really big hardcover book. It was just posters inside. It had 20 posters. If you look at the back of the book, it'll show you all 20 of the posters. I really thought about getting that, but I don't really have a lot of room for books. But that was pretty cheap too. And then finally, the biggest one, and the one that I grabbed first, this is called Blizzard, Foraging Worlds, and this is the story behind the art of Blizzard Entertainment. This is a really thick, I guess you would consider this a coffee table book. This thing is massive and it's heavy. And it was only $7.99, and their price was 50 bucks. And they had a lot of books like this, a lot of different stuff. I'm sure you'd find something that you like. But this thing is just absolutely massive. So I wanted to show those. I was actually going to show them last, but since we already had them up, I was really happy to find this one, Batman 66. If you know anything about these books, feel free to comment. If you know anything at all about Ollie's, feel free to comment. And I also picked up, I use chapstick a lot. When you're in Wisconsin and the weather's dry and cold all the time, you definitely need chapstick. So I got 4 tubes of Carmex chapstick for $3. You save about $1.50 doing it that way. I didn't even really realize that these were holiday flavors or scents or whatever. I don't know, sugar cookie, candy cane, Mary Berry, and oh man, sugar plum. Please don't tell anybody I put sugar plum on my lips. It'll be our secret. Not too many people watch these videos, so I don't think I have to edit this out. But for God's sakes, please don't tell anybody I put sugar plum on my lips. Okay, so now we'll start talking about some of these Scream Factory slipcovers. And before we get into those, though, I do want to mention that I have to acknowledge some of the commenters who watch just about every video and comment on just about every video. That's pretty amazing, and I appreciate you. And that is George Mamalis, Hector Montalvo, Tony Eamon, Reggie B Horror, great channel. Logan Michael Cairns, thank you very much, sir. You always say really uplifting and nice things, and I really appreciate you. Goran Repek and Matt Carlock. You guys have always commenting on my videos, and I really appreciate that. I also want to give a shout out to Charlie Varick. I don't know what his real name is, but he goes under that. It's an awesome movie, by the way, starring Walter Matthau, but he goes by Charlie Varick. And Luis Osorio. And what does this say? Oh, of course, Arrow Throughhead. Ing, what's up, Ing, out there? And Dustin Steckler, who was Billy Pop, and I think he changed his name to, oh, I can't remember now. He changed his name. He's not Billy Pop anymore, but he's always been a very good friend to me over the years. So I wanted to definitely shout all those guys out. That's it for now. But again, if your name hasn't been called out and you've been a viewer, comment below and I can give you shout outs in the future, or I do have plans to do other random shout outs, and I'm sure your name will come up at some point. But this was the original release on Blu-ray of Night of the Creeps, and I believe this was a gift from Chili Billy a year or two ago with this nice slipcover. This is a comedy horror, a sci-fi comedy horror from 1986. And had this dude in it who was in one of the National Lampoon's vacation movies. What was his name? Jason something. Jason Lively, that was his name. He was Rusty in one of the later vacation movies after Anthony Michael Hall didn't come back. Also has Tom Atkins in it. So this was the original Blu-ray with the slipcover, and then for 4K they re-released it with this cover. And my phone's having a hard time focusing today. If you scream, you're dead. And then this was an alternate cover, which kind of takes it back to the sort of 50s drive-in style sci-fi horror movies. So this is the same movie. These are all three the same movie, just different slipcovers. So I'm really glad to have these. And actually, this is still in my player right now. I was watching it the other night. So the next one is John Carpenter's Vampires, and I recently showed this, I think, in my last update video, but since then I have acquired the alternate cover for the same movie. It's just I think this was a Scream Factory website exclusive slipcover. So now I have both, and I'm pretty happy to have those. And the same thing for Ghosts of Mars. I had this one in my last update video, but then since then, I acquired the Scream Factory exclusive cover. So now I have both of those. I really like that one a lot. This one is much better than this one. And for a little filler in this video, if you stick around till the very end, I don't know if I mentioned it already, but I will show my collection of just Scream Factory 4K. It shouldn't take that long, but I want to kind of tack that on to the end here to show you all the different 4K releases that Scream Factory has put out so far. And I do have some more coming, as always, but I'll show you what I have for now. And I have the Scream Factory 4K of Exorcist III and the Arrow 4K of Exorcist III. And I remember really liking this movie when it came out. I think it was 1990 or 91. I remember watching this when it first came out, 1990. And I remember really liking it then. And giving it a rewatch, I don't really like this movie that much anymore. At least, maybe I need to give it another watch, but it was a really, really slow burn. And if you've seen this movie, pay attention to George C. Scott's character. They try to give him like these lame dad joke one-liners that just didn't hit. It didn't feel right. It was really weird if you go back and rewatch this. Brad Dourif, who played the haunted, what was his name? Father Karras The original priest from part 1 comes back and he plays a small role. What was his name? I don't remember what the priest's name was. He was Father Karras, Damien Karras in the movie. That's him right there. He has kind of a small role, and he had a really great role. This guy's a fantastic actor. His voice when he's in the prison, when they're interviewing him, that scene was really cool. And then when you see the demon come out of him and it's Brad Dourif, this might be Brad Dourif's best role. But it's just a really slow burn, and it doesn't really have a great payoff at the end. And I know a lot of people love this movie, but it's nowhere near the original Exorcist. But it is a good sequel. It's just a really slow burn, and the payoff is not that great. But I'm going to pause it, and we'll put this away, and I'm going to take out the Arrow Video release, and we'll take a look and see what you get inside of that. The Arrow Video 4K release is way better than the Scream Factory release. And this is what you get, a beautiful slipcover. This machine, this little, I don't know what you call it, kind of, they would decapitate statues with it, but that was a horrifying tool in this movie. There was one scene in particular that everybody knows. It's when the nurse is coming out of the hallway, and then that shape or that shadow comes with that open tool right toward her neck. Another thing about this movie, I don't think it's really necessarily a bad thing, but all of the kills were off screen, so you don't have to see the gore. I'm all for that. You don't have to see gore in a movie to be freaked out or to be to have it be effective. But every kill in this one was off screen, and it was probably good because they did a lot of decapitating in this movie that you don't get to see. So here's the reverse cover, which is the same image. I think that's the original poster art. The Scream Factory image looks a little bit better than the Arrow image there. And this is a 2-disc set. You get the 4K, you get the Blu-ray, and then the reverse cover is that same image there. So I'm not going to pull that out. And you get a booklet, a pretty thick booklet. There's Father Karras. That was the best part of the movie to me, when George C. Scott was interviewing the priest / Brad Dourif, the what did they call him? He was a serial killer in the movie. I forgot what they called him. He had a name in the movie, and that scene in the basement, or it was kind of like a dungeon type jail where they were keeping him. And Scott Wilson. How come it's not showing? It looks like it's washed out. Cast and crew. Brad Dourif, there he is, right there. When the spirit was the most powerful in the priest, you would see Brad Dourif's face. And Brad Dourif was acting at that point. There's George C. Scott. He was a great actor too, but they tried to feed him these dad joke lines, and it was just not, it didn't really work. For me anyway. I'd give it another watch though. Really beautiful collector's set here though. They had some weird cameos too. You may recognize Patrick Ewing, the ex-NBA star. Fabio was in here. Larry King was in here. There was about 5 or 6 different cameos, just really strange cameos of actors and stuff like that. So all in all, though, this is a really beautiful set. for a pretty decent movie. I would give it a 5.5 out of 10. That's just me. And then you have a art card, advertising card for Critters. So this was the Arrow Video 4K Blu-ray release of The Exorcist III. The next one was the only movie that I picked up during Vinegar Syndrome's partner label month, and this is called Marley's Revenge, the monster movie. This was limited to 1,000, so it has a very low slipcover run. And I think it was just on the cusp of selling out, or it's sold out, and you may want to go over to eBay now and see if you can get it before people realize it's sold out and try to jack the price up. You may still be able to get this for around like 30 bucks. This is called Marley's Revenge, like I said. It says here in the back, they say only the good die young, but no one said they'd come back. It's a revenge movie. People get, this is not spoiling it, people get killed and they end up coming back from the dead as zombies and taking revenge on those that killed them. And let's see here, what else can I tell you about this? It was from 1989, a low-budget horror movie, 82 minutes running time. It's from VHS Hit Fest or VH Shit Fest, however, I don't know, however you want to pronounce that. And this is just a Blu-ray, it's all region, and you do get some bonus features. You get a new transfer, an alternate VHS cut. You get commentary interviews, a short film called Dummy from 1978. And no, I'm not starring in it. And you get a bonus movie called Never Feed the Trolls from 2010, 77 minutes running time. Let's see some of the low budgetness here. I remember watching this years ago on VHS, but I don't really remember a lot about it. It says Marley's Revenge is one of the most fun and funny 80s monster movies, but somehow slipped through the cracks and didn't get the recognition or distribution it deserved initially. But this was available on VHS. I think it had a DVD release too. I don't have it, but I think it does have a DVD release. And here is the disc art. And on the inside, African Survival Manual. And I'm not going to read this here, but if you want to pause it, actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to read that. You guys don't want to hear me read, but if you want to pause it, you can read that for yourself here. I'll see if I can get as close as I can. And so that is Marley's Revenge. There were a couple of other titles that I wanted from the partner labels, but I have money tied up in other areas and I don't want to go overboard. I set a limit for myself each month and I stick to that. I never buy movies on credit card and I stick to a budget, and that's that. If I reach my budget and there's something I really want, I'm either going to have to wait till next month or I just miss out. I don't have FOMO anymore. I don't get that. FOMO means fear of missing out, and I just don't get that anymore. So anyway, this is Marley's Revenge from VHS Hit Fest. I recommend it if you guys like low-budget monster movies. Check it out. So this next DVD, I wanted this for a while. It's not very expensive. I think I paid it was under 20. It was like maybe 17. Still brand new and sealed on DVD from a company called Maya. You may recognize that logo. I do have probably, I don't know, about a good 8 or 10 different Maya releases. They release a lot of Italian and kind of like giallo and horror movies like that. But this is a 2 DVD set called Dario Argento's Door into Darkness. And these are 4-hour-long episodes or 4-hour-long movies that were produced by Dario Argento, but they were directed by different directors. And the first one was called The Neighbor, directed by Luigi Cozzi. It's 58 minutes running time. This 3. Episode 2 is called The Tram. This one was directed by Argento, 54 minutes. Episode 3 is called Eyewitness, Roberto Pariente, and it was written by Argento and Luigi Cosi. And episode 4 is called The Doll, directed by Mario Faglietti. And there's also an extra. It's called Dario Argento, Master of Horror. It's a vintage documentary directed by Cosi under the pseudonym Louis Coates, in which Argento digs deep into his obsessions, dreams, and talks candidly about his work. It's 83 minutes. So I think this set, for $18, you may be able to get it cheaper. I bought this one new and sealed for $18. You may be able to get it for $10 or less used if it's in good condition. But to me, that price is worth this alone for that Dario Argento documentary, and then you get all those 4 episodes. So this came out in 1973, 228 minutes running time, plus the extra for bonus features. So it's an extra hour and a half on top of that. And it's in Italian language. You have to know that, and it has English subtitles. So if you don't mind watching it in Italian language with English subtitles, this might be something you're interested in. It's a 2-disc set, and that is called Door into Darkness. Please don't tell anybody I put sugar plum on my lips. So I watched this a few nights ago. I talked about this in one of my last videos. This is called Chain Reactions, and this is a documentary by Alexander Philippe. And they interview 5 people, which happen to be Stephen King, Patton Oswalt, Karen Kusama, Takashi Miike, and Alexandra Heller Nicholas. And they talk about the original 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre and what effect it had on them as fans of the movie or viewing the movie. I have to be honest with you. I thought the Patton Oswalt, he went first. He was the first interview. And second was Takashi Miike. And his was really good too, but you have to watch his with English subtitles because it's in Japanese. But Patton Oswalt had an excellent interview. If you haven't seen this, check it out. You may be interested in hearing some of this. I wouldn't have thought Patton Oswalt was the fan that he actually is about this movie. He knows a lot about this movie, and he's very well spoken. I can sit and listen to that guy talk for hours. I thought he was really well spoken. He knew exactly what he was talking about, and a lot of the same feelings that he had about this movie I have as well. Only he had one take on it, and he said if you watch the movie, they keep showing images of the sun, and they show low shots kind of pointing up towards the sun. And to me, that was just kind of representing, the Texas heat. But he said he thought it was kind of, the sun was kind of plaguing the entire earth, and we're only seeing it in Texas, but the whole earth is going crazy like Texas was in this movie. I don't know about that, but I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. He's just giving his perspective. Who am I to say he's wrong? But I didn't see it that way. But if you get a chance to check that out, do. It's a really good documentary. One of the eBay sellers, and I don't remember which movie it was from or who the seller was, threw in a bunch of stickers for free in one of the movies that I ordered. And this sticker here is really cool. I don't know if you can... It's hard to kind of show, but it's Jason. It looks really cool in person, but through my phone, it just looks all like foily and almost like a rainbow. But in person, it looks a lot better. Let's see if I can... I don't think we're going to be able to... But this is a really cool little decal or sticker. And then they threw me in a packet of stickers, which we're going to open and go through. These are called Horror Movie Villains Die Notebook Complete Set. Let's see if I can open this with one hand, or I may have to... Yeah, let me pause it really quick. So these are pretty cool little stickers. If you're somebody who watches my channel, thank you. Or if you're just some random person, I appreciate it. Your kindness for throwing in stickers like this. there was no note or anything, but here we have Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Frankenstein. Michael Myers, Texas Chainsaw. These are really cool. I don't really put stickers on things, so I will definitely keep these as a collectible on these sheets, but these are really nice. Pinhead from Hellraiser, Chucky from Child's Play. There's nothing on the back, it's just the white sheet. There's Hannibal Lecter, Hannibal the Cannibal, and then we have, of course, Jason Voorhees, Jack Torrance from The Shining, and Dracula. Bela Lugosi, really cool. So again, if you're a watcher of the channel, thank you. If you're just some random person, God bless you. So let's get into the next pile here. This one is new to the collection. I don't remember if I showed this already or not. I may have, but this is the 4K Blu-ray of the Beastmaster from Scream Factory. And I really enjoy this movie. This is a 3-disc set. So for the disc 1, you get the 4K theatrical cut. Disc 2, you get the Blu-ray theatrical cut, and then disc 3 is a Blu-ray with the special VFX cut. And that is an alternate updated visual effects version supervised by the director, Don Coscarelli. And this movie came out in 1982. Mark Singer, right? Is that what his name is? Yeah, Mark Singer. And Tanya Roberts was also in here, and she was absolutely gorgeous. And Rip Torn and John Amos. This is a really fun movie from the 80s. There were a lot of these type of movies from back then. And then I just wanted to pull out a couple of other editions of this movie that I have. And this is the Vinegar Syndrome. This is probably the definitive set here for the movie The Beastmaster. This is a really beautiful set. Comes with this kind of magnetic flap. And then just look at this artwork. Comes with a ribbon, and you can pull the movie and the book out, and the movie is in a slipcover. What a cover. And then the inside, there's the original cover. This one also comes with the soundtrack. Let's pull this one out really quick. I know I showed this on the channel before, but we have time to kill here. You should never kill time, you should cherish it, but you know what I mean. Here's the 4K. Here's the Blu-ray. And this is the original version plus the Beastmaster Chronicles. And this is the VFX version, just like is on Scream Factory. And it has the soundtrack on there that you can listen to as well. And here's some more beautiful artwork on the inside. And it came with a really nice thick booklet. This is the best way to get it. I can't see this version getting topped. I really don't even think you'd need to even try to outdo this one. This is perfect. Anything you'd need or want for a movie like this, and I'll just kind of push that off to the side for now, and I'll put it away. And then here was the original Anchor Bay DVD from years ago. Still have this one. I don't get rid of any of my stuff. I keep DVDs and everything. So there's the old Anchor Bay logo. I just wanted to kind of show that. Glad to have that, but I mean, it's definitely, this is the best of the bunch, I think. So this is the last section of the video. And then, like I said, if you stick around, if you want to stick around at the end, I'll show you all of the the different Scream Factory 4K movies I have. I'll do that on a shelf in my other room. But this is Nightbreed 4K, and this is the Nightbreed alternate cover. Clive Barker's, this is, I guess this would be Hellraiser or Nightbreed, I don't know. Probably Hellraiser is his crowning achievement, but this was okay too. This is a really weird movie, but I think over the years this has kind of gained a cult following, even more so than it had been before previous. And then this was the Scream Factory box set that came out that was a really beautiful set. This was the director's cut limited edition, although it was limited to 10,000, so that's not very limited, but this is a really cool set though. You get the theatrical and the director's cut and a bunch of special features here. And it's actually a 3-disc set, kind of a creature feature type body horror. Monsters in rubber suits. Dr. Decker was a cool villain. But that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you have a great New Year's Eve. I hope you're safe, and I want to wish all of you out there the very best in 2026. I'd be interested to hear if you have any New Year's resolutions. I myself, I have two. One is to eat better. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't even take prescription medication. But my one vice is that I eat bad. I eat fast food and tacos and burgers and pizza and all that kind of stuff. I have to eat better, so that's my resolution for this year. Eating better, maybe lose 30 pounds by the end of the year would be great. And I do have another resolution, but I'm going to keep that private to myself. If I may divulge that at some point if things change down the road, but I would be curious to hear if you have any New Year's resolutions, and if you have any channels you want to shout out, you can comment down below. If you would like a shout out in a future video, comment below and I'll definitely take care of that for you. So that's it. Heidi's in the other room. My best friend is still here, Hannah. She's always with me, man. That's a great dog. All right. Thank you very much. Take care and stick around for the Scream Factory 4K collection. Okay, so here it is. These are my 4K releases from Scream Factory, including steelbooks, which we'll show at the very end here. For the most part, these are alphabetized, so let's get right in here. First one is Alligator. Army of Darkness. And you can feel free to give me some suggestions on stuff I'm missing. I do have some more coming in the mail, as always, but if you want to leave suggestions down below, please do so. Here's the Beastmaster. Black Christmas. Here's the Blob, the original cover. This is the remake from 1988. And this is the same movie with an alternate slipcover. Bubba Hotep. Child's Play. Child's Play 2, the original cover. And Child's Play 2, the alternate cover. Child's Play 3, the original cover. Child's Play 3, the alternate cover. Creepshow, the original cover. And Creepshow, the alternate cover. Dead Silence, the original cover. And Dead Silence, the alternate cover. Deathstalker 1 and 2 double feature. Dog Soldiers. The Exorcist III. Ghosts of Mars, the original cover. And Ghosts of Mars, the alternate cover. Humanoids from the Deep. Krampus, the Naughty Cut. Oops. Life Force. Nightbreed, the original cover. And Nightbreed, the alternate cover. This is not, that was not a 4K, that got stuck in there on accident. But this was the 4K of Night of the Creeps, and then this is Night of the Creeps, the alternate cover in 4K. Night of the Demons. Prince of Darkness. Pumpkinhead. The Return of the Living Dead. Silver Bullet. The Sword and the Sorcerer. They Live. Vampires, the original cover. And Vampires, the alternate cover. And I will get into some steel books. First one is Army of Darkness. Creepshow. The Fog. Pumpkinhead. And the final one, The Return of the Living Dead. So please leave your suggestions below. And I want to thank you again for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.